Hi there, I'm Joy Cherrick and welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking about how I put together my third graders curriculum. I use AmblesideOnline primarily for our home, but since I have multiple ages, I have to adjust. So I'm just going to go through how I use the curriculum and how I set up my third graders year so that he can be successful. So as I go through my third graders curriculum with you today, I break it up and I break his work up into kind of two sections. I have his skill work, and that's reading, writing, arithmetic, and then he has some enrichment. And I weave all of that throughout the week, and I actually use this list that it took me about a year to develop for my kids to kind of figure out what needed to be on it for them. And then each day of our week looks different. So then I just went ahead and I wrote out Monday through Friday and how each of those days look. And then I just print it off for about 6 weeks. And then that's kind of my system right now. And I've created a download of this list that you are welcome to use in your homeschool, and I'll link that below in the description. When my students start their day, I ask them to start with their Bible reading. Now, we are doing Bible reading together in morning time, but I'm really wanting them to cultivate the habit of Bible reading. And I have had a hard time getting them to do it like in their beds. And anyway, so this is a system that works while we're in school. Now, it doesn't work that great when we're not on a school day. So I don't know. So this is the Bible that my third grader is going through right now. This is Catherine Voss's Bible, and he was going through another retelling as well. He's probably ready for the ESV, but I'm wanting him to go ahead and finish that. And then we'll graduate him to the real Bible instead of a story Bible. So then after he does that, I have two things I want him to do first: Bible and math. Because anyway, that's just, we've found I had to make some rules about the order. So we're using the Math Mammoth Light Blue series, and I love it. And this just works really well for our family. It's spiral. And it's self-contained, like you don't need extra stuff. We like to use, I'm trying to show you a nice, well, I mean, he doodles, so that's just how it is. So it has a good description. So a student who can read can be pretty independent without mom. However, I find that my students don't always read the directions first. They just jump into it. So what I have found is this works really well, but I do need to, check their work and sit next to them and those types of things. So that's math. And then we kind of go into, we've got reading, and we also have some copy work. So for my third grader, he's just reading one book a day. That means he's reading 5 different books a week. And he's going through them slowly. So he'll read one chapter from, say, like he's reading this Teddy Roosevelt book right now, biography. It's super good. Genevieve Foster, her stuff is so good. And so he'll read each different book, but then he's going through them really slowly, which is great. And then after he reads his book, he needs to do a written narration. And he's just on, so this is, you can see, this is Teddy is riding, I can't see, a bucking bronco. You saw that. Anyway, so then I'll just remind him to put the date and the title, and see, we just got the date in there. And anyway, I love doing it this way. He's moved up to 2 or 3 sentences, but I'm happy if he's drawn the picture and written one sentence, especially for the first semester of third grade. And we're going to be working this next semester up to 5 sentences so that in fourth grade, we're moving into paragraphs and all those types of things. So that's what we do for narration. And then we like to use, this is Spelling Wisdom by Simply Charlotte Mason. This is so simple. It's a lesson. We're going through one a week. She recommends going through 2 a week. That was too much for us. We could not get that to work. So 1 a week is good. And I'm trying to keep my 4th grader and my 3rd grader on the same week, but And then he also has a writing journal. And this is something that he does once a week. And I'm probably going to increase that to either a couple times a week or every day that he's writing in his journal. So on another day of the week, I have him write a letter. So we've got grandparents that live far away. We have a pen pal that we're trying to keep in contact with back in Arizona. We have sweet, sweet neighbors that we love to bless with our art and writing. So that's another kind of list that I incorporate into the week. As you can see here, I have write a letter, and then over here I have do a journal entry. So that's kind of our rotation right now. And then we've got, of course, our nature journals, and this is part of our family work, and I go into that a little bit more on my video where I explain how we do morning time. So for my 3rd grader, the enrichment pieces that get woven into his week include a read aloud with dad at night. My husband picks a book to be reading with the kids every night. And that has been a really fun way to expose them to other literature. Sometimes he picks from the AmblesideOnline lists, and sometimes he just finds something that's interesting to him. And that's been really fun. Then also my 3rd grader will go with his grandmother, my mom, and sometimes my dad. And they've done drawing lessons and painting. He's currently working on like an electric circuit kit. And sometimes he'll go across to the neighbor, and the neighbor will teach him how to fix his bike or various manly things that they like to do. So I need to count those things because those do enrich his life. But then also that's not something that I have to come up with as the educator. So those types of things are really fun for me to just write down, like, this is happening, and acknowledge it has happened. Then we also have Beast Academy Online. Now, this is something that my husband has really wanted my kids to be a part of, because the art of problem solving they're just so creative and make math really fun. But I will also say it makes it really hard. So I don't know. We're kind of weighing that right now. This semester for 3rd grade for him, we paid for a subscription to Beast Academy Online. And there are video lessons, and then there are the, modules that you kind of work through. And he's really enjoying it. Now you kind of want your kid to be like a year behind because it's so advanced. So he's in the 2nd grade Beast Academy curriculum, even though he's already doing 3rd grade math. But I love that it is reinforcing some of those old principles and helping him get a firmer foundation. Now, he's a lot more math-minded than some of my other children are, so it's been really a good support tool for me because I can't give him more than that. I mean, he needs some other influences, and then that is also something he can do with his dad.
I'm wanting to show you the book list that I'm using for my 3rd grader this year, because he got all of the AmblesideOnline 3rd grade readings last year and was not ready to be independent like his 4th grader older sibling. So what I've done with his book list for his independent reading is I've taken books that he hasn't read yet, and also books that I thought would really be of interest. So a lot of biographies about men, honestly, and the My Book House collection, which he really enjoys. So my goal for this year has been to get this child reading independently and excited about reading, which is why I chose the books that I did. And I assigned 4 books a week and 1 book per day, 1 chapter from each book. So you actually will see on the other page I had 3 assigned readings going, and that is because I needed to have margin for him. So he would actually read some books 2 days a week, like the My Book House book, or he went through a book, he just blew through it. I just kept reading, Mom. It was so fun. So that's why I don't have 4 books on each list for each term, but because I was just giving myself and him some margin and allowing for just life to happen, meaning his interests, and just to kind of see how he would take off. And really, it was just in November that I started to see his reading really, really explode. So now I know, since that has exploded, I'm going to be able to start requiring a little bit more of him. I just don't want to suck the joy out of it. I want to continue to encourage and foster that love for reading and learning. So I think that 3rd grade is kind of a tricky year for that if the student hasn't taken off yet. So I hope that helps.
The last thing that he does as far as extra outside of our home, not really outside of our home, it's in our home, is math fact drilling. Now, I am really terrible at sitting down with my kids and drilling math facts. It irritates me when they, stop listening or are ignoring me or don't get it over and over again. And I was having a hard time figuring out how to get the reps in for them. So my mother-in-law was an elementary educator, and I called her and said, hey, would you please be interested in helping me drill math facts with the kids we've been using Zoom, but just over the computer. And that has been a really fun time for them. It makes she lives in Washington State. We live in Tennessee, so we obviously don't see them regularly, but we now have a time, and we made it on every Mondays after lunch, that she is able to help our kids in their education. And she's been helping our 3rd grader with his multiplication facts. And honestly, she probably knows more about what they know and what they don't know on their math facts than I do. So I have just been so grateful to be able to find that extra support. So is there anything that I left out in my 3rd graders curriculum that you would like to know? Leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.